Welcome. This video will give you a brief overview of Pentaho Instaview. Pentaho Instaview offers instant and interactive data discovery for big data, providing self-service big data analytics for data analysts working with Hadoop and NoSQL databases such as Cassandra, HBase, and MongoDB, as well as traditional relational and other data sources. And it does this without depending on IT or developers, and without needing separate analytics tools which are specific for big data platforms. So in the demonstration, you'll see me go through 3 steps. First step is choosing the big data source. Second step is auto preparing the data for analysis. And then the third step is visualizing and analyzing the data. So in this case, I'm going to create a new Instaview. And this is where I get my choice of big data platforms, whether it's a NoSQL database or Hadoop. In this particular case, I know my data is located in the Hadoop file system. So I can go ahead and connect to my Hadoop cluster. So click on the connect button here, and then I can browse the Hadoop file system and locate my data file which contains the data which I want to analyze. Go ahead and add that. Now, data located in the Hadoop file system typically does not have metadata. This particular file, I do happen to have the column names in row 1. But what we can do is we can actually extract the field metadata automatically using Instaview. So it's actually looked at the data values within that file, and it's figured out the field types, field lengths, and so on. This is what we call schema on read. And then just go ahead and click on OK. And now what it's doing is actually taking that data set out of the Hadoop file system, loading into a very high performance in-memory column data store, and then dropping me into Pentaho Analyzer, where I can now visualize and explore that data. For example, look at it by different dimensions. So look at it by product, by country, and maybe I want to look at the units sold. So I've got a pretty useful kind of table of data here. Maybe I also want to bring in sales data. But it's kind of hard at a glance to see these numbers visually. So what I can go ahead and do is actually visualize this data. I think for this amount of data, it's going to be quite useful to look at it as a scatter chart. And I can instantly see, for example, Canada tends to be down in the bottom left in terms of the total sales and units sold, whereas Mexico's in the middle here and the US is in the top right. So maybe I want to focus on those outliers in the top right, see which are my best performing products. I can just go ahead and lasso around those values and say just keep those values, and then just filter my analysis on those areas. I can also view the data. For example, I can size it by the costs. So the size of the circle now is relevant to the cost in that particular area. So again, I can see top right tends to be the USA, which has the highest sales and units sold, but it also tends to be higher cost. I think another interesting way of looking at this would be breaking it out by state. So I can drop that on my multi-chart, and I can now start to look at this by state. And I can see at a glance, California, this particular product called ebony lettuce is doing very well. And if I look at other states like Washington State, I can see ebony oranges are doing particularly well in that state, as well as ebony tangerines. And then down in Mexico, down in Zacatecas, again, ebony plums doing very well in that particular state in Mexico. So, very interesting ways of visualizing data within Pentaho Instaview. Going back to Pentaho Instaview, I can actually also enhance the default data integration. So I can go into the underlying ETL editor should I wish to bring in different data sources, enrich that data with data from other tables and so on. I can also go in and edit the underlying metadata model. So it automatically generated the default metadata model, but I can go in and edit that should I wish to. For example, in this case, it generated a geography hierarchy. I could modify that hierarchy should I wish to, make it go from country to city to state, if that made sense for my particular analysis. All right, so that's Pentaho Instaview. So thank you for listening. And if you want to find out more information, please visit us on the web at pentaho.com or at pentahobigdata.com. Thank you.